Just before the video starts, I want to give a big thank you to the developers of Feastopia for giving me a copy of their game. Hey everybody, Wilder here, and Feastopia is a game that blends roguelike elements with city building and management, all with a very nice food theme and aesthetic. In this game you can build different structures and buildings which all have different uses and mechanics to them. Dwellings for workers, lumber mills, farms for both crops and livestock. You can build tailors, and as you play and complete requests and hit goals, you'll unlock more blueprints which will let you build more buildings, and it just keeps expanding. The really unique thing here though is that there's an egg in the middle of your map, in the middle of your town, which will eventually hatch into a creature called a dongo. The dongos are super cute, and you have to keep them happy and fed with the crops and the food that you've grown and made in your town. Fill the dongo up and you'll be rewarded, but leave them hungry and things will get harder. This all gets wrapped up into a system of managing your food supply, keeping your residents happy, and making sure you have the correct structures near each other. Like, for example, a storage shed. You make sure you have a storage shed close enough to a farm so that your crops can actually be stored properly. It wraps up into a nice town management sim. The dongo mechanic is also super unique, and I like the idea of it. And I really love how this game looks. It's really cute and relaxing, from its visuals, to the music, to even the ambient sounds of birds you hear in the background. I loved the aesthetic of this game, and the idea interested me very, very much. However, I can't lie, I didn't necessarily enjoy the execution here, even if I liked a lot of things around it. So the flow of building and managing your town, that was satisfying at first, but there are so many mechanics here, and the game takes you through a very brief tutorial compared to how much is actually here. And it keeps throwing stuff at you, and some stuff just doesn't even get an explanation unless you go looking for it yourself. I just felt like they had a really solid foundation here for a town building and management sim, and then they just decided to throw as much on top of that foundation as they could fit, like just stuffing it to the brim. It became a little overwhelming after a while. There's also the fact that this game has such a relaxing aesthetic and relaxing music, like I said. And then your dongo hatches, and now you're on a timer to get it fed. It changes the feel and flow of what you were just doing, and while you may find the change in pace and presented challenge fun and interesting, it just didn't click with me. I also, while playing my first proper round of this game, forgot it was a roguelike. I was in the middle of building up my town some more, and then it just ended. Like, I was actually taken aback, because I still had goals and stuff that I was actively working on, but no, it's over now. Time to move on to a new run. Yeah, roguelike, I understand that. I love roguelikes, but there was no satisfying cutoff. It just ended. I felt like as soon as I started getting a handle on things, they threw 20 more things at me, and then I was like, all right, let's learn this. And then it ended. It was time for my second run. A new town. Okay. I was really disappointed, honestly. I thought I would like this game a lot, which is why I took the key. I've played Cardboard Town, a really great city builder and roguelike on my channel before, and even though that was, also, it had deck building elements, I thought that Feastopia would be similar in quite a few ways to that. And while it does have its similarities, I think this game just went in a direction that I'm personally not interested in following, which is a shame. There is a pause button here in the game while you're playing, which will freeze time and let you take a breather and look at everything and, take your time to make decisions. But really, I need to pause the game now to, have fun? Yeah, I used it to learn, sure, but I found myself pausing the game constantly to do things that seemed like such simple tasks. I was not vibing with that at all. It felt very time-consuming to do something as simple as moving workers around, so pause time for it, I guess. I'm sorry, but it just wasn't for me, as much as I really wanted it to be. Something I didn't appreciate either, which I wanted to mention, is what happened during the tutorial. Now, I was warned beforehand that after release, there would be a new tutorial for what's called the Merchants Guild. Okay, that's fine. The game's not released yet, I'm playing it early, I expect stuff like this. At least they warned me. What I was not warned about is that when you get to the Merchants Guild mechanic, it locks you into a tutorial where the tutorial bubbles are empty. Completely blank. And it forces you to just click through stuff and make decisions without even, I didn't even know what I was doing. I thought there would be no tutorial until launch, not an empty tutorial that forced me to click on stuff I didn't understand. Like I said, this should be fixed for launch, full release, it should be alright now, so nothing to worry about there for you guys, it was just for me. Like I said, at least I was warned, but I did have a different assumption, so hey, maybe that's on me. but it only added to my confusion with this game in the end. Like, this isn't a bad game or anything. There's a satisfying loop here, the dongle mechanic is interesting, the aesthetic is adorable, I love the music, I liked building my town before the game ended it, and I had to start a new one. Like I said, roguelike, which I'm not against, I don't think it flowed well here. It was that cutoff point that just was never satisfying. I also felt like the game gave you a tutorial worth like 20 pages, and then assumed you were good to tackle mechanics from a 300-page textbook. It was overwhelming, to say the least. Like I said, it just was not for me. But hey, maybe you disagree with, and this is right up your alley. If you feel like that, then the game is out right now. There's a demo which you can download and try on Steam if you want to try before you buy. And if you do like it and you think I'm full of it, then the game is only $13.99 USD, and for its launch, it's 10% off. And for that price, there's a ton of content here. You know, for the right person, which, again, just was not me. But hey, if it seems interesting to you, then give it a try. Try the demo out. Maybe you'll have a better time than I did. And if you do have fun with it, definitely throw what you liked about it in the comments down below, because that's going to be it from me today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and in the meantime, I'm going to work on my next video. See you later.